everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this week. So this week I thought it would be fun to make a easel card. And you know how you usually have to pop the easel card up? Well, this one, it's an easel card that springs up with a drawer. This is what it looks like. And it pops up all by itself. I just think they're so cute. And that's what it looks like from the back. And then you shut it and it puts down. And then on the back we have a little place where we have a pocket and a place where we can write a message to somebody on this little tag. And there you have it. They're just so cute. Inside on this one, I did make little cards and envelopes on another one that I made, and it's just a simple little card in an envelope. And on the other one I made, I did some candies in it. So let's go ahead and get started on this, guys. Okay, first thing first, we're going to be needing a piece of cardstock. And this measures 8 7/8 of an inch by 7. We're going to be scoring our first line here on Design Space is 0.55. And okay, so this first line here, I'm just going to show you guys where it's at on here. It's 7/32 is what it is on the ruler. But here's the 1/2 inch right here. It is the line directly after the 1/2 inch. Score that all the way to the bottom. And then this one is going to be 1 and 0.55, which again is the line after the 1/2 inch marks. And that's this line, and we're going to score it all the way to the bottom. And then our next line is 5.45 inches, and it is going to be the line, there's our 1/2 inch before the 1/2 inch. Okay, if you're doing this by hand and you're not doing it on Cricut. And then our last score line going this way is 6.45. So again, there's our 6, there's our 1/2 inch. It's going to be the line right before the 1/2 inch here. Okay, now let's turn our paper this way. Okay, so this first score line here is going to be scored all the way to the bottom. It's a 1/2 inch. Then the next score line is 1.5 inch to the bottom. This score line is 7 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to score it all the way down to the bottom. And then this line here is 8 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to score it all the way down to the bottom. And then in Design Space, grab it all and then hit attach. And then let's go ahead and do our decorative pieces that we're going to put on. This piece is 5 5/8 of an inch by 3 5/8 of an inch, and you'll need one piece. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of cardstock of whatever choice you would like, and it is 7/8 of an inch by 3 3/4 of an inch. And then you'll also need 4 pieces of cardstock that measure 7/8 of an inch by 5 3/4 of an inch. And that will go with this piece. Okay, so this piece here that we'll need, a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches by 6, and then we're gonna score at 1 all the way to the bottom on each of these at 1 inch, 2 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, and the last one is 10 inches. And once we have that, we're going to go ahead and get another line in Design Space, and we want to change it to a cut line. And it's going to measure 4 inches, and you're going to go up and find 2 inches, so your X will be on 2, and then your Y will be on 1, and it's going to be placed right here. And then you can just go ahead and duplicate that line, and of course it's going to be 4 inches again, and then you're going to place it at 4 inches, and then your Y at 1 inch. And then duplicate the line again for the cut line, because all these lines that I'm telling you right now for this is going to be a cut line. And then we're going to change it to 2 inches, rotate it 90 degrees, and you're going to place at 2, your X at 2, and your Y at 1, and it'll be centered in between these 2 score lines. And then duplicate that 2-inch line that we just did, duplicate it again, and then we're going to go down, find 2 inches, your X is at 2 inches, and then your Y will be at 5 inches. And then grab everything and hit attach. So for us, that's going to be doing it by hand. For this center box we'll be cutting out, we're going to go up and we're going to be scoring between our 2-inch and 4-inch score line. So we're just going to go down and find an inch and come into our 2-inch score line and then score it in between those 2 lines. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go down, find 5 inches, come into our 2-inch score line, and score over to our 4-inch score line. And then we're just going to connect these 2 score lines we just made on our 2 and 4-inch score line. Okay? And then once you have that done, we can go ahead and cut it out. And there you have it. So we should have that. So for this piece here, square that is 3 7/8 of an inch by 5 7/8 of an inch. And then if you're doing this by hand, once you have that whole square, you're just going to center this one we cut out, just a 2-inch square rectangle by a 4-inch, and you're going to center this and then just cut this out, and then you'll have this border piece here. And in Design Space, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to get that square that's 3 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then get you this rectangle that is 2 by 4, and you're going to center it, and then after you center it, you're going to hit slice, and then it'll cut out what you have here, and then you'll have this piece. Then we're going to need 2 pieces that are 7/8 of an inch by 5 7/8 of an inch. 2 of those. And then our last piece is another piece that is 5 7/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch. And this will go on the back side. All right. We can put these aside. We'll need 2 more pieces. This green piece measures 3 3/4 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. We'll need 1 piece of it. And then another piece of cardstock that is 3 1/2 by 4 5/8 of an inch. And that's going to go on top like so. For our pocket in the back, this is 4 1/8 of an inch by 3 inches. We're going to score at 3/8 of an inch, and then we're going to score again at 3 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to come down and find 2 1/2 inches, and we're going to score it all the way across the bottom. And then our tag is 2 1/2 inches by 4 1/2 inches. And I just did it with a piece of cardstock. Our last piece is 7 inches by 1 7/8 of an inch. We're going to score it at 1 inch, 3 1/2 inches, and 6 inches. And then we're done with that. We're also going to be needing at least 2 to 3 inches of ribbon, just depending on how small or large your ribbon is. And that's to open our drawer with, or twine. Yarn is another thing you could use. Just something that you might have laying around in the house. And if worst case scenario, if you don't have that, we always can use a sheet of cardstock. And that's it, guys. That's all of our pieces. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get this piece here, which is what our box is going to slide into. And let's go ahead and just work all of these score lines. Okay, once we have these worked, we can go ahead and start putting on our pretty pieces of papers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now that we have that done, we can take this piece and glue it to this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I like to lay mine flat like so and make sure it's all lined up, and then I can just flap this piece over. And then we have our nice little box. Well, our holder, not our box. So let's set this aside and move on to this other black piece. And let's go ahead and work all of these score lines. Once we have our scored lines worked, it should look like so. Now what we're going to do is cut out our pieces. So I'm going to start here. So we're going to cut all the way up to this first score line. And then I'm going to cut on this up to the first score line. And then we're going to snip this tab off. And then this tab off on this piece. And then it should look like that. This always reminds me of stairs. Boop, boop, boop. So once we have this off, I'm going to go ahead and snip my corners. And then just do all the rest. Then once you're finished with cutting all your corners, you should have something that looks like so. And all this does is help reinforce our box, this extra flap up here. So these tabs will come in like so. And we need to put glue on the back sides of these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you're just going to glue it. Make sure this is straight here. And give it a chance to dry. Then while you're letting your glue dry, what I like to do is kind of fold these back towards me. And then put glue on all of these, and then we're going to fold them down to help secure our tabs down here. Now we're just going to fold them back over. And there we have it. And it should fit very nicely. And there it is, looking good, guys. So let's pull our box back out, and then do that time enough to dry. Let's get our pieces for our box over here. This is where we're going to need our piece of string, yarn, thread. If you don't have that, you could always do a piece of cardstock. I would cut it about 2 inches long and maybe a 1/4 inch wide, and fold it just like we're going to fold the ribbon. And then I would fold this again to get it through the hole we're going to put it through. But you always use cardstock. So whichever end you're going to use as your front, let's get that and get our piece glued on to it. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and put my inside piece on. I think this is set long enough. What I use to poke my hole is this tool. I don't know what it's called. I think it's used for weeding, but I'm going to use this. You could use anything that has an end that you can pierce through here. If you have a paper piercer, but I'm going to find my middle of my box here. I'm just going to poke a hole through here, like so. And then once you have that, I like to go through a couple of times to make sure it's big enough I can get my ribbon through. You're not going to need all of this. 2 inches is probably more than enough. I just find it easier to get it through the hole when it's longer and then snip it off once it's in. So I fold mine like so, and then I'm going to put it over my hole. And you can take a pencil. This really doesn't work because it's sharp on the end and it just pokes a hole through the ribbon. But I have this little thingy here, and I'm just going to push it through. You just need something to push it back through the hole. Once I have it, see how it's there? I'm just going to grab it. And then we have it in. Now, I like mine turned like so. And whatever length you like, that's what I think you should go with. But that's about how long I'm gonna keep mine right there. So we just need enough to glue. So I'm gonna probably cut off about half of this. And then once I have that taken off, I'm gonna split my ribbon, and I'm gonna glue half of it up and half of it down to the bottom here. So now I'm gonna place my glue on this little piece on this side. And you're not gonna see this because we're gonna put a piece of cardstock over it. And then once I have it, I'm just gonna lay it down and give it a little press. And then we're gonna do the same thing to the bottom. If it's too long, I'm gonna hit the bottom, just cut a little bit more off. Mine is, so I'm gonna just snip a little bit more off. Oh dear. Pull mine through. And then we're gonna put some glue on the bottom and then push it down.
Hello. Hello, Jackie. Ooh. You look nice.
Okay, so once we have our little handle glued down and inside, we can take our inside piece and go ahead and glue the rest of these on. The only one you don't want to glue on is the back, because we're going to put something here, and I don't like it to be seen on mine, so I wait and then put my pretty piece on afterwards. So let's go ahead and glue it everywhere else but this outside piece. Okay guys, this is where we should be at right now. And what we can do next is put our pocket on the back. So get our little pocket piece and let's go ahead and work those score lines. We can go ahead and just cut the 2 corner pieces out. And then I'm going to snip the edges of this like so. Then we can get our wraparound piece that goes over our box, and then we're just gonna glue this little bad boy down like so. And then we have our pocket. And give it a second to dry before you try to stick anything in there. There you go. Now that we have that on, we can go ahead and 2 pieces that's going to go on the front, and we're going to glue those pieces together. So right now what I would suggest is you go ahead and put any pieces on now that you would like, because it's going to go on the front and it would be easier to work on a flat surface than on top of your box. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is put my stuff on top of it. So let's do that. So we have this together. Now we can go ahead and set this aside, and let's put our box inside its home, and then get this piece out that has the 3 score lines on it. So once you have this piece out, let's go ahead and work our score lines. Okay, now that we have our score lines worked, what we're going to do is this flap is going to be a valley, then a mountain, and this is going to end up being a mountain too. Okay, so I'll turn mine because I want my green side up. So it should look like this. Now what we're going to do is, on this section here where our hole is at, we're going to put glue and just line it up and center it inside your hole. So just center this section on this area underneath. Okay, and then once we have that done, we're going to take this flap on the opposite side and we're going to adhere it to the back of our box. That's why we don't have our pretty piece of paper on yet. So let's go ahead and do that. And then you can push it down if you want, so you can give it a good rub down. So now we have our spring. So I like to pull mine up just a little like this. And when we put our sign on, we want it not sitting directly on the box. So we want it just a little bit above. And we're just gonna put glue on here and then place this on. Like so. And I'm just kind of eyeing it to see where I need to put it. So now I'm going to put my glue on. And you can see about how far I left a space from the top of our box. Now we'll just get our piece and center it up. And then once I feel like it's on there just a little bit, I like to push it down and then turn it over like so. Alright guys, and there you have it. We have finished our spring easel card. And it's just a little cuties. And then on the back we have a place to put our card. And then, you know, anything of your choice you could put in the box. You could do the card and envelopes, up to you what you would like to put in. You could put candy. I'm going to be putting candy in this one. And there you have it, guys. We did it. I just want to say thanks for crafting with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.